Now, as this is indeed a classic New Year's celebration, we'll consider what it means to work the magic of LRH Tech across every sector of application. And make no mistake, to a stultified student discovering applied scholastics, a strung-out addict entering Narconon, a failing businessman chancing on a wise consultant, LRH technology seems nothing if not magical. But to miraculously transform a whole planet, you've got to conjure up the full LRH technical legacy, very much including all you just saw enumerated on those screens as highlights of 2006. And while we can't yet do it in the blink of an eye, you'll be amazed how much ground we can take when we do it as a strategically coordinated force. Because with accelerating speed through each passing month of this past year, we really did ignite all engines at the IES anniversary just 2 months ago. To quickly recap, those campaigns were specifically engineered to halt the dwindling spiral, or more technically, to literally audit this planet from 3 feet behind society's head and thereby remove the surface charge before it builds up and blows the whole works. So yes, indeed, as a combined whole, you can label those strategies as planetary salvage, embracing all pivotal programs from the very top in the creation of new ideal orgs to the very bottom in eradicating the virus of aberration at its source. Accordingly, if not poetically, we're better to begin a year-end review than with our 2006 campaign to break the dark spell cast across Earth by psychiatry. By way of a recap, that campaign was expressly, maybe even diabolically, engineered to ignite both government action and media blizzard. It's also got an internal kicker, our mental health budget adjustment kit, which essentially works like a smart bomb in that it sniffs out psych fuel lines and blows the funding mechanism. And in that way, to put it bluntly, we booby-trap the whole psychiatric ecosystem. So while only 9 weeks have passed since global activation, here's the preliminary action report. CCHR Central has a tracking board designed to measure collateral damage from our campaign rollout. It monitors both incoming complaints of psych abuse and outgoing psych alerts to state and federal prosecutors. And while it's sometimes tricky to determine just whose bomb hit the ammo dump, this much is blazingly clear. While it takes a psych 8 years to earn his license, we've already yanked 21 in the last 4 weeks. Then there's all our campaign represents as a high-pressure system for an anti-psych climate, of which the best barometer is the Anti-Psych Media Index. And while CCHR trackers describe the last 4 weeks as highest ever, the psychs themselves have a somewhat more descriptive name for it. Apocalypse Now. And here's the satellite view. The first of 4 plagues to visit psychiatrists in the wake of our campaign was a veritable storm of British press, more than 800 column inches mushrooming up from our launch site in England. Then came the 2,600 newspaper, magazine, and e-news articles like a cloud of locusts from elsewhere around the world, followed by a third swarm of news clips, documentaries, and televised forums. Then, just when psychs thought the seas had parted and they could safely enjoy this holiday season, it all rained down, because what with CCHR-inspired hearings on the menace of new generation psych drugs, the age-old secrets of how psychs cut deals with the FDA have finally come to light. And since the FDA can't get the toothpaste back in the tube, they just agreed to smear new black box warnings all over the antidepressant lineup, which in turn fueled an anti-psych media fest like something out of Revelations, and it looks like this. The Washington Post, the Washington Times, the New York Times, Chicago Tribune, Herald Tribune, USA Today, Associated Press, and all over network news, until as of tonight, well, let me put it like this. At our IAS anniversary celebration, I told you psychs were about to believe in the divine wrath of God, and sure enough, they now know that wrath is swift and certain, because in just the last 8 weeks came 37,824 column inches of anti-psych press to mess them up but good. And that's our 2006 campaign for the global obliteration of psychiatry. While the Way to Happiness numbers were already big as of last year, Operation Planetary Calm is all about global saturation, as in worldwide airplay of 21 public service announcements, each one illustrating a precept from the Way to Happiness. It's also about plugging into what you might call the worldwide social mainframe for high-volume delivery to target populations. By way of example, while you can shotgun booklets across any town USA, you need distribution points like this one to hit mainstream America. It's the Ashland Springs Hotel in Ashland, Oregon. It caters to upscale vacationers, and instead of a Gideon's Bible on the nightstand, it's now the Way to Happiness. Similarly, while you can hand out bundles of booklets across every African-American neighborhood, you need someone like this to reach a target group of 12 to 18-year-olds. She's hip-hop fashion queen Kimora Lee Simmons. Her custom cover coordinates with her fashion line, and she funnels booklets through inner cities in both New Jersey and Los Angeles. Then there's our corporate tie-ins. The multinationals tend to have third-world image problems, so this is what they're doing about it. Coca-Cola Pakistan with a Braille edition for the blind, nationally televised no less. Philips Electronics, likewise all over Pakistan, and Dell Computers all over Africa. Then there's the power of Way to Happiness right in the marketplace, as in the big retail chains who have an obvious vested interest to cut shoplifting. And when you're talking frontline retail, you can't get much bigger than 7-Eleven, so here's a few of their 4,000 plus outlets across Taiwan. The numbers grow even larger when you follow the campaign trail into Taiwanese schools. To date, it's 250,000 by order of Taiwan's Ministry of Education. It's also running through national distribution channels elsewhere around the world. Here's the first Lebanese edition, as just approved by Lebanon's Ministry of Security. And here's how Ecuador's Postal Service said, "Merry Christmas 2006. And if I haven't even touched on the grassroots rollout from Africa and Europe to Australia and the Americas, suffice it to say, with presses running off new booklets every 10 seconds and in greater numbers through the last 8 weeks than the whole previous year, 2006 ends with a Way to Happiness now in the hands of more than 70 million people across 131 nations, and that's Operation Planetary Calm as we enter 2007.